Andy, we've reached the last week of the season. Can you sort of sum up for us briefly how the year's been for rugby at Newbury Rugby Club?
Well, in some respects, if you look at it just on the surface, i.e. look at the first team's results, then you're going to assume that Newbury's had another very hard, tough, unsuccessful season. And you can't blame people for taking the first team as their benchmark as to how the club's doing. And in many respects, the first team has had a hard, tough, relatively unsuccessful season in that we're being relegated. We've only won 2 games. But we know, certainly the people in and around the club know that one of the main things that has occurred this season is the coming together of Newbury Rugby Club and Newbury Stags. It's something that I felt should have happened a while ago. Clearly things came to a head towards the end of last season and during the summer, and we brought both groups of players together. There was always a little bit of unsureness amongst some players, but I think we've got there in the end. And the positive, the upside of that, which people won't see, is that we regularly put 3 sides out when we've required to do that. There was a couple of weekends when we struggled a little bit with the second team, but we've put a first team out, we've put a second team out, we've put a third team out, the A team. The first and the seconds have struggled a little bit, and the A team have had this sort of fantastic season, going undefeated and winning their league and gaining promotion. So, as I say, on the surface it looks like we've had a tough season, but when you look underneath the surface and look at what we've managed to do, you'll see that there's been some real positives. From a senior men's playing point of view, there's been a lot happening, and I'm quite happy with what we've managed to achieve this year. We've now crossed those hurdles. There's still some other hurdles to get over, but I think that it means we can really push on next year, and despite the fact we've been relegated.
Okay. Do you think there's cause for optimism that this year's group of players are going to stick around for next year, maybe unlike previous years?
I think there is, and simply because there is no players here playing for any financial reward. Last year there were still some, but not many, and the year before that a good number. So it means that you get to the end of the season, the players that are here for really the reasons why most players are at rugby clubs, and that is because it's their local team. They've either been here since they were very young and grown up with the club and still want to continue playing for it, or they've moved into the area as a consequence of their work, and they've looked to the local club to play rugby. So in that respect, I'm not expecting a huge change in personnel. There will be some of the younger players, people like Sean, for instance, is looking to go off to university, and it'll depend on how far afield he goes as to how easy it is to get him back, or how easy it is for him to want to come back. But on the whole, we'll stick with what we've got. Some of the lads that have been at university are now finishing and may well come back to Newbury to find work. And the whole process starts onwards. So yeah, it's not going to be the wholesale exodus that we've had over the last 2 or 3 seasons, really.
Okay, that's great. So this weekend we're going to the seaside, to Weston-super-Mare.
Yeah.
Can we look forward to some champagne rugby on Saturday?
Well, I hope so. Obviously it's the last game of the season. It's been a long, hard season for everybody. Some are suffering physically more than others, and struggling to get back to some form of fitness. So it's how it is really at the moment. We might not be able to put the team that we'd like to put out, but I'm sure those that do go out will give it a good shot. I mean, last Saturday was sort of a similar sort of situation, and we were really up against it in the forwards. We didn't really have the power and the bulk that they had, but we created a lot of chances on Saturday. Once we got it away from the forwards and the backs could show what they could do, I personally think we created more line breaks and potential try scoring situations from that than they did. I mean, their tries on the whole came from catch and drives and pushover tries, which is where their power was. Can't blame them for using that, but I thought once we were able to get it away from there and cut through, we really should have taken 2 or 3 of the chances, and it would have been a different game. They scored a couple of late tries which sort of flattered the scoreline a bit, So if we can get the ball out to the backs and let them have a go, then why not? There's nothing to lose. We know where we are now. There's no point in trying to play a particular type brand of rugby. Let's throw it about and let's see what we can do. And just see, how that might fare up for next season.
Okay, and then finally, we do need to formally congratulate the ladies, because last week you thought they'd won their league, but now they have actually won their league. So that's brilliant.
They've won their league. The A team have won their league. Unfortunately, they didn't get to play a game, which was a bit upsetting for them. But so going back to the original point, there's lots of success, and it's how people choose to judge our success. Which will dictate, how they feel the club is. And as I say, the first team is always the shop window, but we know that there's a lot more happening within the club, which we need. We're happy with.
Okay, thanks for your time, Andy, this season. Thanks very much.
Okay.